All right, guys, welcome to today's recap. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and today is your recap for what is today, the 22nd. It is Wednesday, the 22nd. All day I was getting the date confused, but that's another story. So, I forgot to go over in yesterday's video some of the names that reported earnings, and I actually did very well for earnings. I don't risk a ton of money on earnings plays, but I look for where the risk to return setups are pretty good. So I went long Key. And again, these are all in the all in our trading room. So just so you know, I'm not making this stuff up. Members have access to this, and we go over all the earnings trades. But if you bring up the trading blotter from yesterday, these were the names. But we went long Keys. I had a small play on for Momo, and I had a small play on for Lowe's, so really excited to see that one. Really excited to see that one turn around as well. So a small play, right? I mean, some of these are really small. I did a trade for Baba today. I sold some premium. I thought Baba was really pricing in a pretty significant move. Maybe people know something that we don't, but you could see over the last in this column here in the price change, which by the way, Baba reports tomorrow morning, not tonight. But you could see that it doesn't normally move more than a few percentage points. So they are pricing in a different move. The market makers are pricing in a decent move. The options are implying a 5.9% move. So that's over what it's generally normally reports. So I went ahead and I sold some put spreads, which is a bullish play, taking advantage of the heightened volatility. We'll see how that goes today. But look at Williams Sonoma go up, another application name. I was getting a little bit worried about the application software group, but look at Synoptis. These names continue to rally, and you can look at the IGV ETF if you want to see the software names. I know it's not an ETF that trades that much, but it's a good proxy for the group. And it looked a little bit weak in here. I mean, it still has to take out the highs, but it's doing, it's definitely moving in the right direction. So that group, I started to think Adobe was looking a little bit weak, but these names just continue to buyers come right back into them. And Adobe just had that one candle below, and look at it go. I was talking about how it did not make a higher high, but it's definitely not over for this group, and they continue to charge higher, which I am long IGV, which is basically the whole group, and looking very strong. One name that I got long recently was this. RPD. I just sent this out on Twitter a little while ago, but real nice candle today. So up 4.8% today, very strong. So where to start with today? Let me talk about where there was really good performance. I love days like this where SPY is unched for the day or was actually finished down a little bit. My P&L was up. That's to me always how I want to be. It's different when everything goes down, but when the market is flat, I've been consistently making money. So that to me tells me that I'm trading pretty decently. I'm managing my risk very well. And so what did I do today? I'll go right to besides the earning trades, which were 3 for 3 for winners. We'll go over to the trades blotter, and I'll talk about some movers, and then we'll talk about all the option activity for the day, which is pretty good. Lumber liquidators, tiny little winner there. Grub, which is a trade that I put on. Oops, that's my charts are not updating. Let's try that again. Grub. Again, you've had to be a little bit patient with some of these names, but Grub I put on a call spread, working very nicely. MasterCard still has not taken out. I'm still long some MasterCard that expires not this week, but next week. Google finally able to take the first target in a trade that I put on Monday. I sold put spreads, so all I need is for Google to stay here. If it rallies, that's great. I could take it off for a bigger winner, but managed to hit target number 1 there. Melly, I put on a trade today, which is starting to work. I haven't looked at this name since earnings, and somebody slapped a really nice, I think it was Piper, put out a really big price target on this one, so finished up 5% today. So I'll take it. Really nice performance there. Keys, I'm just going through my P&L. I'll start. Oh, Amazon is another trade that I had sold. I sold put spreads whenever this thing dips. I talked about that earlier in the week. This was on Friday where I put that trade on. So nice move up, 21 bucks today in Amazon. So I was able to take that trade off as well today. So trying to clean up a little bit. I'm trying to clean up my. We talked a lot today in the trading room about position sizes and how many positions to have on, which really depends on each individual trader. But for my rule, even right now, like I'm seeing a lot of really good setups, but I can't put on 50 trades. It's that's not manageable. So a couple names that I called out earlier in the week that I sent out to members. PayPal has been moving in the right direction. I think KKR had a good day, up another 1.2%, so strong. I sent this setup out to clients, to members the other day. What did Twitter end up doing? Twitter had a little bit of an early bid, but still needs to get above the 20-day moving average here in Twitter. Let's start with today's option activity. Facebook saw some calls today, so kind of maybe stamping out a double bottom there in Facebook, right on the bottom of value. So I would watch this name tomorrow. We have an accumulation channel which we use. It's called OptionX that members can see. And Facebook and Nvidia saw some accumulation, some repeat little call buying, like this stuff we're catching. So we've actually developed a channel to catch really the small names. But we saw this in Nvidia, which had a monster day today. I did not play this one today, but a few members did today, or went long, right around earnings. Monster day for this. Also ADI. I am jumping around from group to group today, but there's a lot of stuff. Look at the reversal today in analog devices. We saw a lot of calls yesterday go up in the semi space. A little bit of Micron, a little bit of Taiwan Semi, a little bit of Lam Research, some Qorvo, which I don't think did much. I think they actually sold some September calls today and bought a little bit of October calls in Qorvo. But I think Facebook is one to watch for tomorrow. There was some call accumulation today. I talked about I was joking around about EA yesterday. There's more calls that went up in EA, but it's still not doing anything. It's still underperforming. So, but definitely a name to keep an eye on. Maybe they do know something. There was some chatter about somebody taking a stake in it. I didn't hear anything concrete about that, but there was more calls in that name. TSS, take a look at this name. Now the calls that went up were pretty far out of the money. In total systems, this name reported a really good earnings quarter, and it didn't really, it gave back some of those gains, so it's still kind of at a breakout zone. They purchased October 105 calls, which again is not even on the chart, but somebody apparently likes the name and wants to see it, or thinks that it's going to go higher. TRXC, this is another name that was in our accumulation channel. Let me see if I can scroll. I know my computer's a little bit slow right now, but here's the Facebook accumulation that we're seeing. I think I have to go back a little bit further. This is at 310. But TRXC, we've got a lot of SPY in here. Still at 2 o'clock. So I might be scrolling here for a while. But here, I'll show you in this system. TRXC. Traded at 1.5500. They traded 6,000 contracts. This is a name under $5. So I don't think, for me, I did buy some shares of this today. I don't want to mess with the options, short dated options. It's a $5 stock. Why not just buy? Why not just buy the stock rather than calls? I like how it found. It found the 50-day moving average and bounced, so I don't think it's extended here. I think it looks pretty good. A few other names. EM, so pretty steady call buying in EM today. Let's just look at the total. The total, where is it? September 14th, 43.5 calls. Those were active, but you could see if we just bring up today's sweeps. You should be able to see a few of them in there. The October 45s, 43 and a halves, a little bit of puts in there too, 45, 45. So you could see there was some accumulation today in EEM. Look at all these sweeps that happened that were over 2,000 contracts. So, EM is a super liquid. This was, I think, the biggest trade of the day. But yeah, the September 43, looks like there was 11,000 of those, the 43 and a half calls. But that was the biggest trade that was swept. Again, super liquid name, EEM, trades millions upon millions of shares a day, almost like the SPY ETF. But it looks like somebody's been buying it, and that's a couple days now that we've been seeing some buying in emerging markets. Kron, that's the second day that name's come up. A little bit of Teva. I talked about this name on Twitter, but a good example of, again, you see call buying and that momentum call buying, and if you don't want to chase, we saw call buying a couple days into this, big green day on, I think that was Monday, and it's given all those gains back. So, here's your play. If you like Teva, my opinion, don't chase the call activity. Wait until it comes back to you, which Teva has done that. Another name that has been repeat is TELL, T-E-L-L. We've seen this one come up a couple times too. It's underneath the 200-day moving average, but clearly there's a little bit of momentum in it the last couple days. The first trade that we saw in the beginning of the day is MLCO. This is another casino name. This has been a tough name, so I did not trade that name today. It's tough. I've had, probably of all the times I've traded this name, probably about 55-60% of the time it's been a winning trade for me, but it's been a tough one. Also, CHL, this is China Mobile. Second time we've seen some call buying in that name. All right, so we'll leave it there today. We'll make it a little bit shorter video than normal, but all in all, again, it's one of those names, one of those days where there's political headlines, and if you sit and you focus and maybe turn off the TV and just focus on the setups, you're gonna find that there's a lot of really good setups out there, and in a lot of different sectors that are taking place. So every time there's these political headlines on the tape, they end up, while people get bogged down in focusing on what I refer to as noise, it seems to be a good buying opportunity. So we're continuing to move higher here. There was an ugly candle yesterday in the SPY, in the S&P futures, but however, it's not a sell signal, in my opinion, until the price ducks back under. So this kind of negated yesterday's ugly looking candle in SPY. Just a few other charts, and then we'll end it for the day. IWN, which I talked about yesterday, was up 4 basis points today, so holding that breakout. The Qs, I just want to look at these charts for my benefit too. IWM up another 20 basis points. The Qs was the performer today. It's underperformed a little bit, so could be ready for another break to new highs here in the Qs. All right, guys, we'll leave it there for the day. Have a great night, and see you tomorrow.